Hey everybody, welcome back to College Conversation with me, Rick.
Hello, and me, Naeem.
And this young man sitting next to us, would that be
Between
proper?
us?
Between us.
Between.
Well, that just sounds weird,
Betwixt.
right? Betwixt
Betwixt
us. This is Martin Lee, and I really don't know what nationality he is, because every time I looked him up on Facebook, he was with a white guy, so I thought that was Martin Lee. So for the longest time, I didn't know. When I came in here to meet with him today, because I'd never met him before,
Right.
I was expecting to see a tall white guy that he's always next to.
That'd be pretty funny.
So this is Martin Lee.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Dude, you're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
You know,
What an honor
and
to
I
be
want to
here.
let everybody know that you and I have been having little discussions because we have never met before.
No, never.
This is the first time. I don't even know if you're actually Chinese or Filipino or what.
One of those.
One of the above.
He's American.
I'm 100%. Thank you, sir.
Got you.
So you grew up here in the States.
I did.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks
I could
have,
tell that accent of yours.
What, the American accent?
Yeah, the American accent. That's what I have.
Hello, buddy.
Hey, howdy, y'all.
Howdy,
I
pilgrim.
want to hear that.
Really? Do you have any brown sugar?
Brown sugar. You got that sugar.
Yeah.
No, come on.
So I everyone thinks there's like some Filipino in me.
Yeah,
I'm
that's what I would
dark.
thought. Yeah.
I somehow think I might have some in my ancestral blood, but
there you go.
apparently I've been told I'm 100% Chinese.
Dude, you do not act it at all either, though.
Acted. What the?
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought he might have been Filipino.
Well, see, I worked at a casino for a short, brief time, and I saw this guy come in every so often. You know, pompadour, big old dark mustache, dark skin. I was like, damn, that Mexican got himself a fine Chinese woman. And then it turns out he's Chinese. I was like, oh, okay, so Chinese people come in all these colors. I was unawares. Like,
right. Boom.
We all learn something new.
Yes. So yeah, I just don't guess anymore. I just ask.
You just asked.
Yeah.
So you're actually very Chinese then.
In certain things,
Certain things.
like my drive. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Let me know when you're going on Grand Street. I want to go
9 out of 10. I bet you he drives an SUV too.
I do.
Oh my god.
That's not, okay. So we know.
All right, so stereotypes do work. Sorry, this went off the rails fast. Okay, so
Focus.
So I brought you in here because two things. The two things were contributing factors to why you're here.
Oh,
We have
not that you're
I have
Chinese.
No idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's not even because you're Chinese. One was because of a gentleman by the name of Alex Mack. You know Alex, right? I think everybody
man.
in the martial arts knows Alex.
Good man. Wow.
Yeah.
Alex,
Super- dude, that guy is too damn nice.
he knows everybody.
He's
he
also-
shakes your hands, he
Yeah.
says hello. All of those things.
he's very intellectual, very smart, knows his martial art history, an outstanding human being, and man, shout out to you, Alex. Dude,
And a
you're great,
sci-fi
man.
geek.
Yeah. And then secondly, we didn't have a guest for this week, so we got you.
Damn.
Wow.
I'm just kidding, folks.
Whoa. Still
Not
an honor to be
supposed
here.
to tell them.
Oh, we're not.
Sloppy seconds. Copy that.
No, this guy has got some really incredible system behind him, because when I asked him, what do you actually teach?
Yeah.
And then he rattled off all these things that didn't even sound like martial arts.
No, ideas.
Right,
Concepts.
which is what we do. Oh my
Hey,
goodness,
oh my
that's what
God.
brought me.
Oh
That
my
is
goodness,
awesome.
connection. I'd rather hear it from him.
Okay,
instead of
let's
Don't
do that.
pontificate whatever we're having now.
Let our audience know what it is do you actually teach, because I was really fascinated by what you do.
Okay, so I teach a edge weapon system called Martial Blade Concepts, which was developed by our chief instructor, Michael Janich. If you don't know who he is, I would recommend
Look him up.
to Google him. And he's done a lot. He basically invented and created one of the best EDC knives for self-defense using the Warncliffe style blade. And if you're not familiar, that's just with the straight edge all the way through.
Okay.
And there's a lot of concepts behind why it's so powerful, and we can talk about that later on. But he based the system around using instinctual movements and creating good structure while you're defending yourself, at the same time being able to have legal implications. So knowing when you can use your knife, when you can't, all your pre-incident indicators, staying aware, being able to avoid, having de-escalation, and then finally having a boundary setting. And once that is crossed, then you're legally allowed to defend yourself because you've tried so many methods to stay away from danger or the situation. So I was really drawn to that, and I've always been into like self-defense with knives. And obviously, I was driven by the karambit originally, and that's why I started my journey in FMA, and eventually it led me to find martial blade concepts.
Wow.
And there's so much concepts involved about what's legal and what's not, what you can't do, and not a lot of people teach that in their martial arts system.
No, they don't.
Exactly.
Yeah, they actually stay away from it.
Exactly.
Because then they don't want to get caught up in the bureaucracy of, well, my master said I could do X, Y, Z, so they just don't.
Exactly. And just going off on tangent for a little bit, you know, if we just take
That's
traditional,
the whole show.
Yeah, going on tangents.
if we take traditional FMA back, you know, in the war days where the Spaniards taken over the Philippines and they had to use what they had to do to protect themselves. And when they went to war, they're allowed to attack first and stick in the neck because it was warfare, right?
Right.
And then those tactics were eventually moved into the modern world, and that's what everyone's training now is those type of tactics. But if you take, like, what's very popular is empty hand, deflecting a knife, countering, stripping it, and then attacking again, you're training that skill, so it's going to happen in real life. And when it comes to modern self-defense, once I disarm the knife, the threat is over.
Right.
You're not allowed to go back and attack unless you still feel that you're in fear for your life or grievously bodily harm.
You
or
know,
a Filipino martial artist
yeah.
that has multiple knives.
well, yeah, but here's the thing.
Right.
Why would a Filipino martial arts attack you in
That's
the streets?
Yeah,
They don't.
yeah.
They know these are. We're talking about thugs. We're talking
Well,
about.
you know, it's funny that you had mentioned that, you know, people come at you with knives, and until you take that knife away, like you said, there's no threat. The law says that the knife is more stricter as far as
Sentences,
legalities
yeah.
than a
Exactly.
gun,
So-
you know, because of what you can do with a knife.
So once you strip that knife and I go and do a counterattack, what I went was from lawfully self-defense to attack
murder.
and assault with a deadly weapon to murder. And
Right.
even though he was trying to kill you,
Right.
you've already diffused the situation.
Right.
And
Why
if you
did
go
you
back,
need-
exactly. So now it's this ego.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
and that's
very
gonna,
true.
It becomes
and that's
rage
gonna, and that's
all
going
of
to get you in
all
trouble.
the emotions that follow that.
Oh yeah.
And what if I
How
told
scared
you?
you are?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's true. Then if there's no witnesses, then it's like he said, she
Right,
said.
well, you
but
know.
we live in a modern day with
Camera, yeah, everybody's.
right? So you just never know. That's why when I teach, you know, every class I say, dude, your best defense is always being aware and being able to avoid. Because if you can see the threat coming, if I see someone that's acting like really sketchy, I'm just gonna walk
Already
across
moving
the
out of the
street.
way, yeah.
Right.
Like I didn't have to fight that guy, dude. Like why do I need to fight that guy? Why do I need to flex, dude? That's not how you're supposed to live your life, dude.
No, and you know, and that's one of the things that we talk about in all of our classes all the time. It's like, if you can avoid the fight, avoid the damn thing. I mean, why get into the mix and possibly get yourself killed or end up in prison?
Yeah, knowing
Because-
the difference, and also it enhances the way you train. Because if you know you're doing something, okay, I'm doing this because I enjoy it, it's part of the art, wonderful. But this is not realistic for what I need outside. So if you don't train that side to it, if you don't realize it, then whatever you are doing isn't going to be very helpful out in the real world.
Exactly. And we all have to understand that we all come in different strength, size, shape. You know, there can be like a 4'11" female and a 7-foot guy. You know, like how do you take these techniques and tactics and have it work? The answer is, if I'm a 4'11" female and I'm going up against a 7-foot individual, there's no way like realistically I'm going to
No.
win. So where does the tactic go? You train the mind to really be able to aware and avoid. And I always talk about this all the time. Like you don't have to fight. You fight and use tactics of the mind. You know, like if you're walking down the street to your car and it's dark and you're by yourself and you have your car alarm, don't lock it from far away. Unlock it from far away because then you can see that someone will know that's where your car is. And then if there's
I'll
an
just
attacker,
wait for you.
exactly. So go up close, like things like that. Or carrying your purse in your non-dominant hand, so you have your dominant hand if you need to do anything, right? Like just simple things like that that can really help.
We're going to
save
have you
your
at
life.
our next rape prevention class.
Oh, dude, you beat me to it. I was like, dude, yeah, you definitely need to be at our next rape
Well,
Yeah,
prevention
because
class.
these are all the things that people
talk about,
should
yeah.
know.
Yeah, and you know, believe it or not, like a really good tool for females to have is a flashlight.
Yeah.
Especially once all you need is. Thanks, man. All you need to do is flash him once, blind him, kick him in the shin. Everyone knows how to
run
play.
away.
Everyone knows how to play soccer, right?
Yeah.
You ever been kicked in the shin? That's
No,
why they
yeah.
have shin guards.
You,
right?
you know, it's funny. I always ask women in our class to say, okay, what's the first place you want to attack? And of course they say the growing. And I'm like, God, that's the worst place to go. Why did that become a thing?
Because you, I don't know,
Well, because it's
sensitive.
It's our weakest area,
Yeah.
apparently, right?
Yeah.
But the goal is just to slow them down so
Right.
you can escape. We don't have to go in there and
Release
do
and
any
run.
break things and strike. No, kick and run. Slow down.
Yeah.
Just
Release-
slow them down.
yeah.
Go.
I call it release and run.
And everyone always thinks like, because of movies, everything has to be fancy. Absolutely
that
not.
just
Jesus.
drives me crazy.
I mean, yeah, if you see the art side of it.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. But you have to be able to separate the martial
You,
and
you
the
know
art.
that's funny because I was watching John Wick the other night.
I love John Wick.
John Wick, his fight style is nothing like typical Hollywood movie. He just gets in there, fucking shooting the head. You know, he just. I mean,
Let me
even
hold
when-
you down,
Yeah,
pull my gun.
yeah, pop, pop, pop. You know, none of this fancy bullshit about you know, the old kung fu stuff, right? But when I saw that, I said, okay, this is what a real fight should look like. Even his blade stuff that they were doing on the last one, right? It was just, you know, throw it and do whatever you can, and not worrying about looking pretty. I mean, he does the most ugliest stuff in fights.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
nothing pretty about it, and you admire that because now that's what it should be looking like. You know, people always harp on us about, oh, you guys are trying to make it look. No, we're not. That's the furthest thing.
We're
from
good at what we do. That's
Yeah.
why it looks pretty. But if you watch anything that him and I, whenever we play, it's never, oh, I'm going to do this and you do your sequence. It's always, I'm trying to hit him and he's trying to hit me.
Yeah,
Like that,
we
that's
don't
it,
choreograph
bar
anything
none.
for demos.
We were like, oh, that looks, and people have a hard time believing that it's not choreographed. And I was like, look at all our videos. No two will look the same.
I love it, dude.
Yeah, you and I'm sure you hear this a lot, right? Oh, the instructor says, okay, all right, I want you to throw a right cross at me. See, you already left it then. You already know where that's going, right? Yeah, you're telling me exactly what you need. Well, what if I do something different? I'm sure I'm going to knock your ass out.
So it's funny that you bring that up because the way that we train, it is, if we're going to use FMA language, for the new guys, we're basically going to train an angle 1, an angle 3, and an angle 5, and an overhead, also known as a high forehand, a low forehand, a centerline stab, and an overhead. Because why? That's the most common gross motor attack that someone's going to do with the weapon. That's
So-
based on all CCT videos and research.
So
and
that
what they're gonna
is
do.
so, dude. I'm really loving this guy a lot more, right?
Yeah.
You're taking that idea. You know what we do?
I didn't do it. Mike did. Mike
yeah,
did.
we
Mike
use a
did.
clock system. 1 and 11.
Same
5,
angles.
7, 3, right? That's like you said. That's really all you need.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
To anybody to, you know, and not that I'm harping or bad mouthing
yeah.
you guys with the 12 and the 36 angles and stuff like
No,
that.
that's the art. It takes
Yeah,
takes a
that's-
lot to learn
yeah,
that
that's
stuff
the
and
art.
hold on to it. And
But you
teach
don't
it.
have that in a street fight.
Yeah, but so
You don't need it.
So how do you determine, like, if this is an angle 1, this is an angle 1, that's still an angle 1.
Yeah.
So what determines when it turns into an angle 3? And Mike is a genius. He says, and this blew my mind. He goes, we use everything the way that our hands are. It'll tell us how to move. Like if you notice that the elbow, if you put your hands below the level of your elbows, your fingers are naturally pointing down.
Pointing down.
So if you're going to defend something that's coming low line, you're not going to step and do this because
Right.
that's not natural. You're going to do that's natural. And then when your hand goes above the level of your elbows, you're going to defend this way. You're not going to do that, right? That just makes no sense. But some systems teach that, and it's just like that's the art, and I get it, right? So basically, any high forehand attack that's above the level of your elbow, that's an angle 1.
Right.
It's that simple.
That's simple.
Yeah, from this side.
Yeah.
From this side to a different one.
So let me ask you this. I'm just curious. What angle is this for you guys?
One.
Exactly.
It's still a 1, yeah.
Yeah, whether it's left or right, it's on the right side.
I love you guys.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. In FMA, they also teach a lot of mirroring stuff because you're training the brain, but there's a lot more simple way to do that. If you treat it as an angle 1, you have a master technique. You do the same movement. There's no need to think. You do the same thing for this angle attack and this thing. It's the same angle.
You would think, right? Because everybody else is saying no, but we're like, no, that's idiotic. It is.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't say that. Rico said that.
Yes, I did. Goddamn
We
it.
still have friends.
Yeah. So when Mike explained all these
Yeah, let's
concepts,
put it on
it
Mike.
was just like. it was just very eye opening and very logical.
But you know, if
That's
you,
that's a key word I think that we don't push enough is logical.
Why?
Because we do. I'm saying, but,
Yeah, but
in the
No,
martial arts
yeah.
world,
Why?
it's because that's not how their masters taught.
here we go.
Mike, these
Now
are
we're
good
gonna have
people.
everybody piss on our show.
Mike, this is good people.
We just lost a lot of viewers.
No, and
it's
there's
true,
no,
though.
there's no disrespect, dude.
No,
None.
no.
None at
The
all.
art is the art, and
Exactly.
I'm sorry, I can't imagine spending 12 years learning a complete art because that is a lot of information. That is a lot of history, and it takes a strong back to carry that. Nothing against the traditional martial arts. You just have to understand that there is a place and a time for everything.
Exactly.
And we do live in a modern world where you don't have a lawyer coming with you to sign a form
A
saying,
waiver.
a waiver.
Yeah, back in
that-
the day.
back in the
Yeah,
underground
yeah,
Filipino
yeah.
days. We're not going to have a death match. You're trying to survive a violent attack. You're not trying to be
Pretty about it.
the
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
there's a significant change to the necessity of things.
Yeah.
And we just have to be aware of that.
Yeah.
Martial arts still has its place. Traditional martial arts still has its place. It's still needed. I definitely believe that it's something that we should advocate and push for a lot of more people to start joining traditional martial arts. But there has to be that separation of idea to say, okay, this is one thing, this is another.
Yeah, basically.
Let me ask you this, Martin. Have you noticed that those numbers have been dropping in traditional martial arts?
What do you mean?
Back in the day when I was doing Kempo, like in the late 70s, everybody was going to martial arts.
Oh, yeah.
There was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
tournaments,
yeah.
right?
Talking hundreds.
Tournaments
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
were hundreds and hundreds of people.
Yeah.
They were always filled to the rafters and all
Yep,
that.
yep.
And now, last tournament I went to, there was maybe like 200 people when there would have been almost 1,000.
Well, I just think everyone geared towards that. Like, if it doesn't work in MMA, it's not going to work in real life. But MMA is still limited to rules. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
that's the worst place to be using that as a guide.
Yeah, and you're also it's in an MMA setting. Yeah, like if you want to take two masters and put them together, that's a good place to do it. But taking from a self-defense standpoint, you're not dueling. You're reacting and you're moving and you're trying to break distance. There's no cage, dude. I mean, you're surrounded. You're trying to break out and be
Yeah.
free and run away. So that's the difference. In MMA, you're stuck in a cage and you're dueling.
Yeah.
But that's just it, though.
And there's
you
different
know,
ways to win other than, taking out your opponent.
Correct.
Yeah, because I have noticed the numbers have been dwindling, and a lot of our guests that comes on say,
I never thought
yeah,
about that.
yeah,
Except the women.
except the women's,
The
division,
women
yeah.
masters that we've had on here, they all feel like it's
growing in the women's
but
department.
a lot more women seem to be taking martial arts.
It's just so there's the martial and the art, right? The
Right.
martial part is self-defense, and the art is
Yeah.
the expression of self. And I think that's where they stay in is they get to the point where they understand the basics of their system, and it is endless. You guys know that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
And
forever.
they take that art and they just move with it. Same with how I practice and gear myself to the Bali song. So I'm able to separate my martial side of martial blade concepts. And if I want to explore the art and just express myself, I would just completely switch to an illegal weapon, which would be Bali song, which is a trainer.
Right.
And I would just find my flow.
Yeah.
Do you have an actual a live Bala song?
I do, but
We
not
won't
only
tell
know.
anybody. We won't tell anybody. It's illegal.
He has a trainer.
They're gonna call us. Hey, where does Martin live?
But if you actually practice within,
Yeah.
if you actually practice the weapon, then you're allowed to have it. Like you can't have nunchucks, but you can practice nunchucks if you're in like
Yeah.
a dojo or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So
Something like
my
that.
Bali song's at the dojo.
Dojo. Not this dojo.
We get paid $50 for each person we turn in with a Bala song.
underneath.
That's
Yeah,
why.
yeah, yeah.
It's all about the money. It's nothing personal, buddy.
Bacon Johnson, shout out to you.
Help, Mike. No.
All right, so I think we've probably lost and regained all our audience in the same conversation in the last 15 minutes. So let's move on. Let's talk about you. How did you get involved in the martial arts?
Because you were probably never really this big when you were little, right? Were you-
Oh no.
Yeah.
I was like in high school. I was 135 soaking wet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So-
think I was even less than that. I was pretty pathetic.
and a foot
I was
shorter.
tiny. Yeah, a foot shorter.
So my dad,
Uh-huh.
like I was going through, like as a kid, I was going through pictures, and he was like doing this like crazy jump kick. It was black and white, right? And I've always, dude, something just geared, like it just pulled me, and I gravitated toward martial arts, especially Shaolin Kung Fu, you know. So I really wanted to learn that, and I begged my parents to put me in, like, I don't know, Taekwondo, whatever I can get my hands
Something.
on, and they said no. And I was like, why?
Because
And
you were
they're
going to
like,
be a doctor.
No, see, I was thinking it, but I didn't go.
Sorry.
That was good. That was good. Correct. No. No. They were just telling me that because I was a bad kid, and if I
What
I
school
wouldn't
did you
have
go
the
to?
discipline. I went to which one? High school?
Yeah,
Huh.
because that's the troublemaking school.
Oh,
Well,
no, he
I-
went to a few. That's how much trouble he
No. It's embarrassing because I went to a single-sex institution. We call that Reardon.
Oh, I know Reardon. Yeah,
It was all boys school.
Wow.
Yeah, it's an all boys
Yeah,
school.
But, I mean,
familiar with
It's
it.
now become co-ed.
Yeah, it is. Oh, man, I wish.
You missed it.
Yeah,
like
but
the year after he graduated.
20 years actually. But that's
20
okay.
years.
You look young.
Thank you. Thank you.
He's Asian. Come on,
Chinese to be specific.
Chinese. Yeah, 'cause, you know, Filipino doesn't look that young. Sorry.
Yeah. So mostly in my like middle school was where I caused a lot of trouble, and
Okay.
and I wanted to learn, and they said no because they thought I would hurt someone. Honestly, I think if I learned it, I would have better discipline. But neither
Not
here
in
nor
those days.
think so.
I believe I know some.
Okay, well then I digress.
Because and I want people to understand why. Because I grew up. I was a product of
The streets.
Mission High School. Mission High School was a rowdy, especially back when I was there. But even after I left, it got even
got worse,
crazier.
yeah.
It got worse. Gangsters and all
In the
that.
90s, yeah.
So when you
Met
were a
you.
kid who knew martial arts, those guys gravitated to you and got you to join them. Then you were just a little asshole and you knew how to fight.
I
That's
got
what I'm
it.
saying. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
So
okay.
when you're in that environment and you know that, even in Reardon, I mean Reardon as quiet and peaceful as it pretended to be, because I know Reardon.
It's a great school.
Now.
But you know what I'm saying, right?
No, I
because
know, I
of the
do.
kids that you would hang out in
I
those
do,
days.
I do.
And,
Yes.
You know, I took martial arts and I went to high school. A lot of people always sought me out because they knew I fought, and I'm like, no, I'm not joining your group. I'm on my own guy.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then they would come after me with kitchen knives.
Oh,
Their mom's
Jesus.
fucking steak, and I'm like, really? You coming after me?
Actually, I do remember those days, and you know you're probably right.
You know, and so you gravitate to those things because now you're somebody.
Yeah, I would have killed somebody if I
Oh
went to
yeah,
an
dude,
all-boys
Martin
school.
fun. Let's get him to, you know, and that's what happened. And that's why, you know, and back then, those McDojos,
So
you know,
Yeah, because I don't think your parents would have really researched.
well, my dad is a phenomenal martial artist. And dude, I never knew that. Like I saw the pictures,
Yeah.
but I didn't really know that until like last year. So let me explain the story.
Whoa.
So like, sometimes like in the morning when I'm getting ready for school like, in 7th, 8th grade, I'd see my dad downstairs just like breathing, moving hard. And he'll hold the door open, he'll stop. And I'm like, "What are you doing, Dad?" Nothing. And
Wow.
So I found out that he trained Dragon style in China, right? And then he would never teach me.
because he knew better.